Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Real Chumps, where chatting about movies feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we continue our month-long series of heist movies with the 2000 film Gone in 60 Seconds, directed by Dominic Sena, written by Scott Rosenberg, based on the 1974 movie by H.B. Halicki, starring Nicolas Cage, Giovanni Ribisi, Angelina Jolie, Will Patton, Robert Duvall, and many more.
Many more, yeah. Before we jump into our movie today, we wanted to remind you to please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to turn off those notifications. That way you never miss an episode.
To join in on that conversation, follow us on social at Real Chumps. And at the end of the episode, you loved it. We'd really appreciate it if you could share it with one of your friends or leave a review.
Let's roll that intro. All right, Danny, here's the question of the day. Do you have one? Because I have.
I did have one. I didn't write it down because I was watching it late at night and I freaking forgot. I'm really mad at myself, but it might come to me later on.
Mine's pretty basic. What was your first car?
My first car was a Jeep Grand Cherokee 2000?
Okay.
I think so.
Gray, you said?
It was charcoal.
Charcoal.
Yeah, what did I name it? I named it something, or a girlfriend named it? Freak, now I can't remember. That thing was a beaut. It was great. I wanted a Jetta, a Volkswagen Jetta.
Really?
That was in the neighborhood that was being sold.
Uh-huh.
And I take my dad to go see if we can buy it. It was manual. And he gets in. He does like a Latino dad thing. He's like, déjame ver.
Did he pop up the
He looks
hood?
he looks at the hood. He gets in the car. He like presses in the clutch. He's like, it was okay. And we leave and he's like, no, mijo. No, the clutch is bad. I'm like, okay, well, let's replace it. He's like, no. And I'm like, freaking, okay, Dad. Okay. Because he was always like, you got to drive a stick shift or whatever. He teaches me how to drive a stick shift.
And then you don't get a stick.
And then I don't get a freaking stick. So there's a little bit of that.
That's funny.
But look, I'm grateful because I had a car, right? My parents just gave me a car. I didn't have to pay for it. I had to pay for gas. Didn't have to do insurance. So I was blessed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took my wins where I got them.
We might as well. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
My first car, I turned 16. And I'm asking this question because my understanding from my coworkers who have Gen Z kids, none of them want to drive.
I believe 100% believe that.
Like, they all tell me that their kids, which back when we were kids, like, we wanted to get our license.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Right? And like experience freedom. Right? And my parents wanted us to get our license. That way they didn't have to drive us around to practices or whatever it was, right? And that's the criticism my coworkers have had, is that their kids don't want to get licenses. They just rely on like Uber, Lyft, whatever it is. And like if they're gonna go to the movie theaters, they all just meet somewhere, order a Lyft together, and go.
This is mind blowing. Are you for real?
This is what my coworkers tell me. Yeah.
So they're spending like five.
Yeah, but they split it between.
Okay,
four of them that fit in a Lyft, right? And then also like if they want to go out and get something to eat, they just DoorDash it. This is the generation we live in. Anyways, these are the criticisms that I hear from my coworkers, how their kids just don't want to drive.
Bro, you just blew my mind, bro.
When they first told me this, I was like, wait, no, like freedom, like having your own car, saving up for a car. Like that was the excitement. But anyways, my first car was it was a 1984 Dodge Spirit. You probably have no idea what a Dodge Spirit is.
I have heard of a Dodge, but I can't picture what it looks like.
It's just some nasty looking
sedan.
No,
it was a sedan, right?
It was a sedan. Mine was red.
A Honda?
No, Dodge. Dodge Spirit. It was red. Okay.
I think how many years was this in production?
Oh, not many.
Okay, go.
I think by the 90s it was.
I gotta look this up. I'll put a picture in for everybody.
And the inside.
Oh, this looks like okay. Go.
It's just like a.
Was this their competitor to the Civic?
I think so.
I feel like this is okay.
But it was nowhere near as good as a Civic, right? Red on the outside, red exterior with red interior. as well.
Oh, okay, dude.
Picture this, dude. You might find a picture of it online. We lovingly nicknamed it the Beater. That was the name, the Beater.
Okay.
It had transmission issues.
Okay.
It wouldn't go past like 50 miles an hour. It would just, once you got to like 50, it would just, and it wouldn't just shift gears. I remember it was, I think prom, my junior year. I think it was my junior year. We're going up a hill. It's a group date. Okay. We're going up a hill and my car just, it couldn't make it. Normally it would make it. Okay, but because I had three extra people in it,
it just was like it just died.
Yeah, I was so embarrassed.
Dude, that's awesome, bro.
So I had to take a longer way around to get back up the hill up to our homes. But
dude, that's freaking awesome.
The Dodge Spirit. My parents. I went on a in summer. I went on a school. I was part of like student council for like a summer. Sorry, for a week. Some leadership camp, whatever. I come back. My parents gave it away to someone in the neighborhood that needed a vehicle. And I remember just being like, wait, I'm gone for 5 days. And like,
you get rid of my car?
Got rid of my car. I was so mad. I'm glad we could help someone out, but I was just like, why? That was my car. So I had to get something else.
What'd you get?
Don't judge. I got a 86 Mercedes.
Nice, bro. Why would I judge that?
Black exterior, black leather interior. It had a couple issues, which but
when you get a car like that, you have to expect for an issue.
Oh yeah, and I just loved this vehicle, dude. I loved my Mercedes, and again, my parents, when I went on a mission, they gave it away, and I was just like, no, I was gonna come back to my 86 Mercedes. I love that car.
Did you give it a name?
I just called her Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
Oh, Mercedes. Okay, so I had the Jeep Grand Cherokee and it freaking ran.
Yeah.
It just was a champ. And true, like, for me, my freaking dad, I love him, but he like, so I was like, I wanted the Volkswagen Jetta. I was willing to like do what I need to do to make it happen. And I wanted to, but then he's like, no, you know. So then I got the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I was bummed about, but it was whatever. I was like, it's a car.
Yeah.
As long as I had a car, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, great for we had driving theater in my town. So like, balling.
Yeah.
Okay. Grand Cherokees balling for freaking for that. And anyways, so we but probably a year later, my dad picks up a freaking Jaguar.
Oh, really?
An old school, like it was a. He picked it up for a pretty good price, but he had it and he freaking wouldn't give it to me. I just wanted a better, but it's fine. It's I love my Jeep. The Jeep was like stellar up until like the last like before my mission. I think I said the story that like a sensor. I went to go switch out a sensor. Apparently, I didn't like computer. Like I don't know. I didn't undo the battery or something, and it fried the computer. It was shot after that. It was like, it sat around for which really sucked. Anyways, good stuff, dude. I remember what my question was of the day.
Okay, go.
What is your Eleanor car? If you're going to have an Eleanor, you know, like for, you know, Memphis rain, it's the Ford Mustang GT,
the 67 Shelby GT 500. I think I shared this in, I can't remember what episode.
Was it Italian Joe?
No, I think it was something else. But this movie left a very big impression on teenage Marcel that I've always have wanted a 67 Shelby GT 500. Even in video games, I always, as soon as I get enough credits, I go out and buy a 67 Shelby GT 500. I color it the same way. Put the racing stripes on the top. I genuinely love this car in this movie because of this car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is the Nissan Skyline.
Oh, okay.
From Fast and Furious.
From Fast and the Furious.
If I was gonna have an Eleanor car, that would be I wanted, dude. Oh, the Skyline, dude. I wanted the Skyline so bad.
A specific year?
Nah, just the one that was whatever
Yeah.
the year was for Fast and Furious. Or I was torn between that or the Evo Lancer, Mitsubishi Evo Lancer.
Oh yeah.
One of those two cars, bro.
Those Lancers were
sick.
They were cool, man.
They were great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a buddy, and then I switched it. Then I eventually, anyways. But that was like Nissan. In fact, I saw that Lego. You know how Lego does the like cars.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Need for Speed Nissan Skyline, and I bought it.
Oh, really?
This weekend. I'm looking forward to building that bad boy.
How many pieces is it?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'll let you know. Let us know in the comments which is your Eleanor car, because I really want to know what cars out there are there for you, because cars are freaking like there's something about, which is why I'm so grateful that you started this story, this podcast with your story, because it is mind blowing to me, because the fact that car equaled freedom, it also equaled status.
Yes.
Which this movie kind of like has a bit of like where this is at.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's jump into relationship with this movie. What has been your experience with this movie? How many times have you seen it? What was your first time like?
Dude, I don't remember my first time watching this movie, but it was definitely on TV.
Yeah.
And it was definitely like I remember them having like naming the cars.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was a huge thing. I also freaking falling in love with Angelina Jolie and Nicolas Cage. Honestly,
he is so good. I forgot how
he
good
is so good.
This is our first Nick Cage movie, right?
This is our Nick Cage.
We need to do more.
We got to do more, because I love Nicolas Cage.
I love Nicolas Cage.
I'm gonna put the picture of Pedro Pascal looking at Nicolas Cage, and maybe put my face up, just because like I love Nicolas Cage. He's probably one of my favorite actors. I love his movies. I don't know. I know he is what it is, but there's something about him that I just truly appreciate. I will say, I maybe have watched this movie one other time from beginning to end. Other than that, and I think that's a stretch. I think, in all honesty, it's probably similar to what it's been in this time period where we grew up, where we watched movies and it was in chunks because that's just what it was.
It was on TV. You would catch it whenever you could.
Yep. And so I think this might have been my first beginning to end movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Of watching
it this time.
But I'm not 100% sure because, it's a little hard. So I also absolutely loved, I was like, dude, Mustang. And then I got to drive a 69 Mustang.
That's right.
And I was like, this is freaking legendary. And so definitely have a bond to this movie in the sense, which is this movie, we're going to talk about it a little bit more later, but this movie I think led to me to want, me then watching Fast and Furious, I think that primed me a little bit.
Yeah.
To then really like loving Fast and
Furious. Okay, we'll dig into that a little bit.
We're gonna definitely. So tell me your relationship with this thing. You've already told.
I love this movie. Okay, I was a kid when this came out in 2010, so I must have been only like 10, 11 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I don't think I saw it in theaters.
No,
but this was back in the days of like Blockbuster, Hollywood Rental.
Yes.
Right. So we rented this. I know we owned it as well on DVD, and I just love this movie. I don't think I had seen so many exotic cars on screen at once. I think this is my first time, right?
Yeah.
I think nowadays, like, you can just get on YouTube or TikTok, whatever, and scroll around and see really cool cars a lot in one place. And now this was my first time being like, that's a Ferrari. Like, wow, look at what you've got going on here, right? So it was just something very exciting about that. I think also like Nicolas Cage's Memphis's approach to like how he talks about cars.
Oh yes.
Right? Like, I don't think I'd ever seen someone talk in such a almost romantic way about a car.
100% romantic.
Right? And that's when I like came to realize like, oh yeah, like cars are beautiful. Like they are this sexy machine, so to speak, right? And I love the line when they go scope out Eleanor, and then I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's like, "We'll see your fine ass tomorrow, Eleanor." Like, I just love that. The movie's just perfect, and like I said, it left such it left such a strong impression with the Shelby GT500 that I've always since then have wanted one, or to just see one. So I love this movie, but it's been I'd say like probably 8 to 10 years since I last saw this, and I have some criticisms, but overall I love this movie.
Okay.
Let's talk about the synopsis. Give me a quick synopsis on what this movie is about.
A car thief is tasked to boost for a ambitious job, fails in the boost, and is under pressure and has to bring his estranged brother back from his retirement for one last job.
50 cars.
50 cars in one night. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's start off with the characters.
Dude, this movie is stacked, bro. Can I just say, like, I just really, really, really appreciate us going back to, like, watch some of these movies, particularly at this time frame where, like, movies started to become really involved in my life, in our, I feel like, our lives.
Yeah.
They started to become, like, movies started to become impressionable. Like, don't get me wrong, Lion King, very impressionable in my life. Of course. You know, Toy Story, very impressionable. But these are the movies where it starts to, like, shape identity in some.
Identity, that's what it is, yes.
Because, and not only that, but me coming back, Will Patton.
Yeah.
Dude, I love him in Secondhand Lions. And I'm like, I need to go back and see more of his filmography, because I love him in Secondhand Lions, and I want to see where he comes from.
Remember the Titans? We've talked about Remember the Titans.
Yep.
Yeah, I had the exact same thought. I was like, I need to explore more of Will Patton.
Yes.
And I didn't get enough of him here.
No.
But I do need to explore more of him.
The other one is Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall's also, and I'm like, I meant Robert Duvall when I was thinking about Secondhand Lions, even though Will Patton I was thinking of Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Yes.
But in this, both of them, these men, I'm like 100%. I'm like, I need to come back to where they're at with some of their filmography, because both of them are just phenomenal. It was also fun to see Timothy Olyphant,
right?
Early days,
yeah.
Especially because I love Justified. He's great, and he's just in that aspect. So
I wanted also more of him, because his line at the end when the car gets hit through a wall and he goes and checks on the cop and he's like, "Are you okay? Because you just went through a wall." And then he just leaves. Like,
dude, that happened. I was like, I forgot that happened.
Yeah,
it happened. I'm like, dude, that person's straight up dead.
Yeah,
there is no. And then they cut to that scene, and I'm like, what?
It's such a dumb line, but it fits so well and delivered so efficiently by Timothy. And it hits in this tone of movie, like it hits perfect.
Oh, perfect. Also, okay, Chai McBride.
What's that?
Is it Chai? No, what's McBride? Donnie Astriki?
Oh, Donnie. I'm assuming it's Chai.
Yeah, Chai, right?
Chai McBride.
He's also. I'm trying to think what else. Let me look at what else. He's in a couple of things that iRobot. Yeah, I know him from Pushing Daisies, though. Anyways,
he's the cop in iRobot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the cop. Yep, he's the cop in iRobot. Every time he's on screen, I enjoy him, like, thoroughly. But I'm like, he's got something, again, he's another one that I'm like, I gotta go back and look at his filmography, because he freaking kills it. One of my favorite lines is when he's like, "You gonna pull a gun on me? You need a role model."
I love this, which I think we see a lot in these heist movies. There's this code among thieves, right?
Yes.
an honor among them, right? And just for him to call this mugger out and like take him out and be like, no, you need a role model. Like, I love that they have this kind of like, not etiquette, but there's this art to heisting cars, right? Boosting cars. And so for him to have someone just pull out a gun, it's like, nah, there's no skill, there's no art in this.
Yeah.
And just takes him out.
And
it's so good.
It's so good.
Delroy Lindo, who plays Detective Castlebeck.
I love him as a detective.
I love what he does with the script, with what's given to him. He brings such a you see this regret of not having arrested Memphis.
Yeah.
You see and feel the history that they have, right? And I feel it, and it's delivered really well from Castlebeck versus from Memphis, right? And that's something that Delroy really brings to this. This level of gravitas to this character who's been around for decades, who had his chance at arresting Memphis, didn't because he left or whatever, and now he's back in town, and you just see like there's history between these two characters, and it's just delivered so well on behalf of Delroy. I love Detective Castlebeck, and it's interesting because you have these like dual antagonists, right? You have the detective along with Timothy's character, and then you have Calitri, Christopher Eccleston, which we'll talk about that. I think that's weak. This time watching it, I was like, oh man, what's his nickname? The Carpenter? Like, okay. Just because he likes wood and carving things, but whatever. That character is weak.
Yeah.
But I do like the dual antagonist. You have the overall villain, which is Calitri, who's kind of puts our characters in the path that
the trajectory
that pushes the movie forward. But then you have Castlebeck along with Timothy's character that are this cat and mouse engagement that's happening.
Yeah.
I wanted more, and I wanted Calitri's character more fleshed out, more threatening, because he does come off as threatening. That first scene where they catch the brother, right, and they're about to smash him, that's threatening, but like we don't see him the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And
then at the very end when he gets taken out, I'm just like, why were we afraid of this guy?
Yeah. I don't disagree. Well, any other? Do you want to talk about Memphis and Kip Raines, Nicolas Cage and Giovanni Ribisi?
Last person I want to talk about, Vinny Jones, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna say it here. I was gonna save it a little bit later. I want them to reprise these characters in a mini series.
Oh, okay.
Prior to Gone in 60 Seconds, I want it to be focused on Memphis Raines. I want it to be these characters like. The people, the idea of who these characters are, they could even do 2 seasons. They could have an initial season with and it doesn't have to be like these people. It just has to be like the idea of these characters. These characters in Memphis Raines, him coming up, and we see his struggles with Eleanor. And it's this thing. He then leaves at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then his brother, we flash forward a couple years later as his brother's trying to cut his teeth in it.
Okay, yeah.
And then we end with him taking on the job, and we Gone in 60 Seconds. I would freaking love it.
I like this. I just think what makes this movie so enjoyable are the actors portraying these characters.
And I don't disagree with that. I
can't see someone else as a Sphinx.
It's Sphinx,
right?
You're not wrong.
And even like Memphis. So the studio originally wanted Brad Pitt for this, and they offered Brad Pitt the role. Okay,
interesting.
Now, I feel like the movie would have had a completely different tone had it been Brad as Memphis.
I agree with that.
He's too cool.
He's too suave. He's not brotherly enough to be like in the situation. The Fast and Furious came out a year later, bro.
Yeah.
And they had a younger cast, the cast situation was younger. And I think that has effect into why it plays out. But I digress. All I'm saying is like you're not wrong. I think that these characters really like fell in love with the actors fell in love with the characters and they really sold it home. And so, but I'm like, there's just so much great things here that I don't want a reboot of Gone in 60. I just think like this like sort of like mini prequel of like a series that's like a limited series or whatever. Just the character, like there's enough something there that they could like find other characters that could fit. Because like the thing is like we just have to love Memphis, the character Memphis, because we already love him. Like we get to like relive him as some of these little things that happen that they've mentioned in this film that would just be like, I don't know, really beautiful.
I agree. And again, and I think the script does a really good job at portraying a history between all these characters, right? And I think as we've been talking heist movies, something that I felt like maybe Army of Thieves last week's episode lacked was, do I really believe that these characters, this band of thieves, have this chemistry or have a history together? No. Right, and I think that's not a problem from the actors. That's a problem from the script. You didn't give me depth to tell me these guys have been, boosting for the last decade or 5 years or whatever it is, right? Whereas this, and again, we're constantly bringing up Ocean's 11, right? Ocean's 11 constantly is talking about, I owe you a favor from that one thing at that one place, that one time, right? Yeah. And it's like we know there's a history here, and the chemistry shows.
We're coming with there's a pressure of revenge to bring Memphis back, and we see that with the Italian Job, right? Italian bring that. I agree with you with the fact that like something I think that like heist movies to make them really. To become something that's really memorable, you have to have the crew has to either have to feel like they come together to make that they can come together, that as they come together, that you believe that they're the crew and that they are like that it's not left oniony like or left like cheese holy like in Army of Thieves last week. Because last week, although we love the character, at the end of the day, it falls apart in the third act because there wasn't enough of a depth on the screenplay.
Exactly.
End. Whereas on this one, like in other ones, in other films, I think that like what we can see is that like they might be new or they might be old, but no matter what the situation is, they build depth into the characters. Because at the end of the day, heist movies are about character growth and portrayal.
Yes.
That I'm like really coming to like connect with. And this is why I love Ensemble. It's because I love series because I get to grow with the character as they grow in their journey. Where in movies, it's not that you can't have that. It's just you don't get it. You want more of it at the end of the film, which is always a great feeling to have.
Yeah.
But I love it in Ensemble because if it's done well, you're thinking about this one scene and another, or like little moments with these individual characters that you're like, you get to have that dopamine hit in a way in like a multiple levels throughout the film.
Yes. I love that. Again, the movie does a great job at giving us this depth. And with that, I want to talk a little bit about the relationship between the brothers. And let me preface this by saying, well, one, let me ask you the question. Do you believe in this estranged relationship? And I ask because this last time watching it, I felt it was a bit forced at first. I felt like this portrayal from specifically from Nicolas Cage was just like, I feel like you're trying a little bit too hard to make me believe that you care about this brother. And I don't know if it's just because we hadn't seen them. Yeah, we had that collage at the beginning of the opening credits. But for me, I felt like I wasn't quite there. And it wasn't until I saw them together on screen that I was like, okay, I believe some of this. And maybe not on screen together. Once they're back at home and Giovanni's character is trying to make breakfast for him.
I don't know if that's I can't call that breakfast, bro.
Hot mess, that whatever that was. I feel it more. I feel more sincerity from. Is it Kip?
Yep, Kip.
From Kip's character than I do from Rain's. Was that intentional from your perspective, or was it just what was lacking there, or maybe it hit for you?
No, I'm glad you brought this up. I actually think that I think this is a costume design issue / character design issue. So, and what I mean by that is that, like, in the opening, so like the opening sequence, there's a little bit of like a filmmaking editing sort of situation. The opening sequence is really hard for me. I just like there's a lot of stuff happening, and it's very like periscopy / like macro style, where you're like looking at a whole bunch of different things, and like because I hadn't seen it in a long time, I wasn't like paying attention. I just was like letting it happen.
Yeah.
And because I didn't remember the opening, like I was just like, what am I looking at?
Mm-hmm.
If I watch it again, I'll probably capture a little bit more of that, which is, I think, what they were trying to go for. But I think, and because then they go into the heist, the initial heist with Kip. He looks like he's stoned out of his mind.
Giovanni Ribisi looks horrible in this movie. He
looks like he was dying of the plague, and he was still having to do this movie. Yeah. Drunk. And then he goes into that scene. And so I do think that, like, he does feel sincere, but I actually thought the opposite. I felt like Cage was trying to carry the scene, even though he wasn't saying much, because of the way, like, it's like he was coming off of literally a drug high. Yeah. Like, in reality. But they had to get the film scened. Because then later down the line, he doesn't have bloodshot eyes or really like baggy, situations. It feels a little more like he's like a kid brother looking up to a big brother.
Yeah.
And that there is a relationship, but he's confused. He's like angry at him / sad. Like he just doesn't understand. Like, we have the better scene on the front porch, and then later on with Otto, I think. No.
With Atlee. With
Atlee.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. I think I don't know what's going on with that first initial, like, Kip situation.
Yeah.
Which is really where I think because I think Giovanni, I think he did have the chops to make it work.
Yeah, no, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Right? I think I like that you mentioned the costume and makeup design for this character, because it's extremely off-putting.
It is very off-putting because not only that, like, his crew, with the setup that they do in this initial heist, he doesn't feel like he's the leader.
No, not at all.
And so to me, it just, I'm like, I don't know. It's just, like, that really is what, like, and we go way back to the third episode when we talked about Batman 89. Like that, having a good character design. I think even with Memphis Rain himself, like, they did a way better job. I mean, there's Nicolas Cage and his stardom, but they just really dropped the ball, in my opinion, when I think about the ending and how some of the things, how they play together, that they just dropped the ball on how they presented him, or like how they decided to direct. It's like almost like they had a different director direct that scene.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
I do like, though, we talked about it briefly, but at the end, right, when, who was it? One of them gets shot, right?
That is Tucker, I think his name is. Let me double check it. Toby gets shot. They're at some doctor's office, and the resentment that Kip has, right, is still towards his brother. At least telling him, hey, man, like, we might have to get you out of town. He's like, no, I'm not going to leave my friends, unlike my brother, right? Yeah. And for Atlee to, like, again, Will Patton, so good. Dude, he's so good.
Right? And he's like, is that really what you think? And for Giovanni's character, Kip, to then say, like, enlighten me, or tell me what really happened, right? That motivating factor. And maybe we find out that Memphis left because his mom told him to leave.
This is where I felt like this is a weak point.
A weak point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that he goes to, because Memphis goes to his mom.
Yep.
To talk about the situation, and it like she like does hint that like he just followed in your footsteps still, right? But she doesn't come back later. She's not like resentful. She's just like, just help him get out of it, right?
Can you get him out? Yeah.
Right. And it just feels slightly like she needed to be slightly more upset in that scene, or there needed to be another, like I felt like, or there needed to be another family scene with all three of them, even if it goes to another scene. Like even if it was like the scene where they're on the porch, they had a scene with the mother, like for like a couple lines, and then they go out to the porch and they connect there. That would have helped amplify that moment later on, because I just felt like, because I'm like, don't get me wrong, I felt like that was a really good scene, but I just think that like on my end, I felt like, man, like, because like as I'm rewatching, I'm like, oh, the mom's like very like, does mom know? Like she's mentioned and she knows what they do, and so I'm like, oh, maybe she's like involved. Because I can remember, and the fact that she isn't, other than the fact that she tells him that she told him to leave, I just felt like it lacked a little bit, because I didn't see her resentment.
Yes, that's what it is. I had totally forgotten that was the reason why he left, right? And again, seeing the mom and in the cafe scene, and her not even saying like, this is what I was concerned about, or this is why I wanted you to leave, or anything like that, any resentment, like you said, right? For her to just be like, oh, he followed in your footsteps, can you get him out? Yes, it seems like mom was just very passive to the situation that Kip was in, right? And for then later for us to find out towards the end of the movie that's why he left, was because mom kicked him out, right? I think you're right. I personally would have loved to have seen more of that family dynamic.
Yeah.
Whether, like you said, in that scene, they're all together and then they step out, or even like, show me some flashbacks.
Dude, yeah.
Show me some two scenes. One scene maybe where like we see this brotherly love that they have with each other, right? And then I get it. You try to show that in those opening credits with like pictures where their arms around each other, but like it didn't hit. Show me a flashback where you see this brotherly love, and then maybe later mom telling him you gotta leave.
They have a title. There's a title card as they come down to go, as we we get introduced to Memphis for the first time. It doesn't tell us where he's located, does it? It's like 5:30 p.m. or something, and then it goes down. Maybe, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Anyways, I just felt like, I'm like, I actually lost that he wasn't even in town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like that I mean, I got it through context,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, I didn't like he wasn't ever in town, and so anyways, I remember him being in prison, and that's why he got out, and he just hadn't really talked to anybody, but I was younger and I can't remember. So anyways,
I want to talk a little bit about and I would love your thoughts on this. Is it me, or was it just too much of a, or was it the version that I watched? Was it too yellow?
Yeah, it was. I don't.
What is that filter?
So it's not filter. It would be. So there's two options that could happen. Either they colored it this way, or they shot it, and they set the white balance, or they decided to have that sort of artistic.
The day scenes
it was the day scenes, and it could have been that they wanted to make it feel extra. Like, I think this was a vibe in California. That like when they shoot in California and outside, they wanted to make it. It was like, maybe it was the TV, maybe it was the like, we have way better color accurate like stuff now, that when we see stuff like that, it's very aggressive, or we're more accustomed to more of like a blue sort of feel. But
this was my experience watching it this time. I'm watching that first scene when Atlee goes and meets up with Memphis. And he's outside with the little kids, right? And it's very like yellowish. I'm like, oh, maybe he must be somewhere like in Arizona or Texas. They're wanting to portray that it's really hot outside. Okay. And then later, this yellow, this tint is still there. I'm like, okay, this is just getting a little bit jarring, a little too much during the day. Eventually, this is what I figured. I feel like, and I can see this, like, I wonder if they were trying to go from like a outlaw Western effect to it, that they went with this color grading to give it like that effect. I don't know, but I think it was definitely jarring.
It could also be that, like, I don't know what the breakdown is when it comes to like their editing. Like, it could be that like there was a new way to like throw in a filter or like this colorized effect, and they got it to a point, and again, someone's like, no, it works for me, and they shipped it, right? And they hadn't color grading hadn't gotten as sophisticated as it is now, but it was pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it was very aggressive. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the heist element of this.
Okay, is this a good heist?
Yes, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. You don't think it's a good heist?
I do think it's okay. I think it's a legendary heist.
I love the fact, and I've said this before. We talked about this in our episode on 3:10 to Yuma.
Yes,
I love when a movie gives me a countdown.
Yes.
Right? You have to do X by this date, right? I love it because then you create the tension. We have a goal to go towards too, right? I love that the Kip had like 2 months to heist all. I can't remember. He had a long time to heist all these movies, all these cars. Sorry, and then he fails, and now we have like 72 hours to steal 50 cars. Memphis signs on to it, but they decide to do it all in one night. Whereas Kip wants to do shadow games, he calls it, right? That way they don't bring so much heat on themselves, etc. He says we don't have the luxury.
Monologue. I freaking love that interaction. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
We can't play shadow games because the moment we play shadow games, then the heat is on, and we're not going to be able to get the other cars.
Exactly. And so for him, it's like, let's just put all of our eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
Do it one night, and then by the time the first call goes out that their car has been stolen, we've already have at least half of these already stolen.
Yeah.
I love that element. I love that we have a deadline.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, going back to what's his face, Castlebeck, you have this incredible detective who, I love his line when he first sees him outside of the cafe. This feels like Memphis. This feels like Memphis reigns. Like, I don't know how, I don't know why, but this heist just feels like it's Memphis, right? So again, going back to this history that they have. So now you have this detective that's just on their butts the whole time. He's suspicious of them. He has a hunch. He's right about it. And we have a deadline. So two main motivating factors.
Yes.
We have to get these cars by 8 a.m. on Friday. And we also can't get caught by Castlebeck.
Yeah.
And that just creates tension on all aspects. And that is what I want in my heist movies.
Yes.
Tension.
And yes, like just like in our comedy movies, there needs to be an outrageous what is it called? What do you call it?
A ridiculous
situation.
Yeah.
We need a outlandish or an extreme pressure for the heist.
Yes.
Right. Which we didn't get very effectively on Army of Thieves.
No. Right.
Italian Job kind of has it. It just doesn't feel as aggressive.
But that's because you feel it towards the end when what's his face?
Yeah.
When the villain changes or
he finds out that they're all alive, and he's going to move the safes
earlier. Exactly.
Earlier. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas here you have that, and I love that the movie every like 20 minutes puts a new countdown for me, and it's just like, oh my gosh,
It's so good.
how are they going to steal 50? And
It felt so 24. I was like, 24 took notes. This is from Aaron Sorkin's masterclass on script writing.
Okay.
This is on his the second thing is intent and obstacle. It's not until you introduce the intention that you've really begun the story. Right? Because he has a quote in there, and I don't know if I have it. So introduce intention and obstacle early. If you're writing a movie, you have a few minutes. If it's a TV show, you need to do it immediately. If it's a play, you have a bit of time. So then he says, because at the end of the day, he's like talking about how intention and obstacle, because if you don't have an intention and obstacle, then you just have journalism. Like,
I like that.
Anyways, I just as you were talking, I'm like, oh, I like this phrase that he's talking about from this masterclass that I did. Yeah. Anyways, so good.
Why is this a good heist for you?
So for the same reasons you have. To me, there is a really, not only is it like a difficult job. So Ocean's 11, we'll get there one day.
We'll get there one day.
To me, Ocean's 11 has a really kind of like a big. They're doing a big job. It feels very daunting the way they set it up, everything. Italian Job is like a revenge job, but it doesn't feel large.
Mm-hmm.
To boost 50 cars in one night in a time crunch, or no, he gave him 72 hours.
72 hours, yeah.
Okay, but you have to do all the planning. He's back in the, so he's getting pulled out of from hiding, not retirement, straight up hiding and retirement. I guess you could, yeah. And he has to pull the crew together. He's got to he's got to find the cars, all that stuff. I mean, they're not sleeping, right? They're getting sleep where they can. And then there's the pressure of like, if we don't do this, my brother's going to die, and we're not sure how this is going to play out, right? Plus, you've got Castlebeck on their tail every day. One of my favorite, like what even like it amplifies when he comes to, and when the Feb brings in the Cadillac, and like, what is this car? What is this? And they find out that it's got freaking cocaine in the back. And that scene is so tense that then just primes you for the actual heist of the night.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have the heist, and you've Castlebeck's on their tail. He's trying to figure out. So you have all these rising stakes throughout as they go out that just feels really great. For the heist.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to circle back to the fact that you brought in that Calibri. Calibrisi. No, Calitri. He was weak.
Super weak.
He's a good villain.
The idea of him is a good villain.
Yes. They should have had him pressure on this in the second, like before the last 24 hours happened. There should have been an ominous, like a threat, because there was a Memphis comes back, and there was a thug crew.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
That scene should have been Calitri.
Yes,
in his crew.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was a missed opportunity in the script. They had that was like one too many characters to try to throw in this melting pot of a heist film.
And that crew showed up twice, right?
Twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you get rid of that crew and incorporate Calitri in those scenes. Remind me as a viewer why we're afraid of him. Why you had Atlee tell me this guy is the worst of the worst, right?
Calitri should have threatened or should have hurt. This is my rewrite.
Yeah.
Atlee should have been. He should have been He should have had a warning brought to him, mm-hmm. and he kind of blows him off on the first instead of the first when Memphis shows up and I don't know that Sphinx scene.
Which is fine. Have Sphinx come in and
do something similar, epic.
Do something similar and epic, right? But have it be instigated by Calitri.
Then we follow up, and athlete gets threatened aggressively, maybe they gimp him up on his other leg or his arm or some kind of thing that means that they're like, we're not messing around.
Yeah.
He gets like in some kind of, in some sense gets carved up. Right. Because at the end we just don't like the threat. It's somewhat threatening. Like, it's like, oh, this is going to happen. Like, oh, he's going to pull up, he's going to change his mind. He's not going to allow the, thing. Cause it almost, I mean, the line that he gives is he's like, I just stole 50 cars in one night. I'm a little tired and a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation. Right? Like, to then be completely undermined with like, we're gonna pull on the like muscly guy and I'm the villain.
Yeah. Or maybe even keep these thugs in, but then have Kalitri's crew show up and like take out the thugs, right? And say, no, Kalitri owns this town. Okay.
Yes.
And I have no trust in you thugs. Okay. You've burned me before. Take them out and then look at you, Nicolas Cage, and this is what's going to happen if you don't deliver.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted more of Kalitri. But yeah,
because even on top of that, like, homicide comes in and takes over Castlebeck's file because it's a homicide case.
It's a homicide,
which I freaking. This is why again, there's so many. The writing elements in this is like primed, bro. Primed for a wonderful series.
It is. You're starting to convince me that maybe we do need a series of this.
He calls the homicide detective comes in, and he's like, grab. It's like I was watching with subtitles. I think if you watch it with subtitles, it's all caps. It's like it's in all caps in the subtitles, which leaves to me it's like some special. It's just like a special unit that is for like Grand Theft Auto cases, right? Which then goes to the play why maybe Castlebeck got passed up for some promotion. Like, there could be so many good things that come from a series. Even if we don't get these characters, right? Like the actors that portray, but like we get a whole series that like showcases Memphis up and comings and Castlebeck. You can even do 2 good series, like 2 seasons, and then the 3rd season is the brother. Like, there's just so many good little things that could introduce wonderful nuances to for an enjoyable time.
Yeah, you're convincing me. I was going to pitch a sequel for this. I would love a sequel.
What would be the sequel?
Well, we're hinted that the Kalitri is boosting all these 50 cars for someone down in South America, right? Some drug dealer,
right?
Whatever, cartel, right? It wasn't delivered. I want the cartel now to send their people, and come after these guys.
Oh, okay. Can we talk about Fast and Furious now? No. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it after. We gotta talk about the cars. We're going over an hour on this one.
All right, okay, let's talk about the cars.
Should we just talk about the boosting sequence?
Does it land? What was your favorite boost that they did?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so first off, I think honestly every boost is a pretty good time. But my favorite boost has got to be Sphinx with Snake, with
with the Hummer.
The Hummer. That is pretty. Also, I love Sphinx and this what's his the
Mirror Man.
Yeah, look, Mirror Man should not. I mean, he was probably one of the weaker. Kip's crew is weak.
Oh, super weak. I do not trust these guys to steal a Kit Kat bar out of Walmart.
Out of a vending machine. Like to me, like, they're weak. They, even though they like the opening scene feels like they have they had some sort of system. Again, I think this comes down to directing, actors / costume design. I don't know what's going on here because it's really weird because like we have Scott Caan, who plays Tumblr, who I forgot he was in this movie.
I forgot Scott Caan was in
and
this.
I'm like, he's in Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
You know? And so like he plays a supporting character like he does here, but I'm like, it was untapped potential. Like he has munchops. But like you said, like the fact that like, again, it's this like the crew is with the whole like laser cut. The police get to the dealership guy, the whole situation. How Memphis like kind of lets it slide.
Yeah.
Doesn't push him on him. On like you got it covered. Like
you got it covered.
But again, it's 72 hours, so he's trusting the process.
Sure.
And he's like, let's go. But like Feb and like, I mean Toby, who's supposed to be the computer guy, like,
I wanted more out of the gadget aspect of it all, or like the tech aspect of it all.
Yeah.
We didn't get that. We just got him. He hacked like someone's garage code.
Yeah.
And then
Mirror Man was supposed to, like, is in the fingerprint situation.
Oh yeah.
Again, not so like I felt like they were trying to do like tech things, like a techie situation with. To me, I think really what it comes down to is like they either Kip's crew needed to have at least 2 solid players, or the opening sequence needed to be better, so we trusted them.
Yeah.
And it didn't falter us at other moments when we were in the situation. I still think the Feb who's kind of new, he wasn't sure, like.
The guy that orders pizzas, right?
Yeah, the guy who ordered pizza. Which again, I think that like those characters could have been better if we had a series, because we could have had some up and coming.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways,
context into their shenanigans,
right? Because they're just shenanigan makers. They're like
they really are.
where they're coming into some freaking the Super Bowl champions of
heisting.
Of heisting. But to me, I like Snake. I mean, I really enjoyed yeah, it was the tension between with the heist and getting rewarded with like the vibe of like bringing these cars in, having the moment with actually, let me ask this question to you. What is we haven't brought up Sway at all.
No, we haven't.
I want to know your thoughts on Sway and Memphis. I want to know, and the culmination of, not the culmination, but like then their heist of the Hurricane, I think, or the Lamborghini, one of the Lamborghinis.
It's a Lamborghini. I like Sway. There's something about her characterization that's very unique, right? She works at an Italian auto shop. That's why they bring her in, which is also like.
Is that why they bring her in?
Yeah, because she's like, oh, so do you have Ferraris on that list that you need to boost? And he's like, yeah. So that's why they bring her in, because she and she's the one that
she knows all the Ferraris,
all the Ferraris, right? So part of me is like, that's all you needed for 5 cars out of the 50.
Yeah, but she's got history with Memphis,
right? I believe the history. I really liked her portrayal of Sway. I think she brought more out of that character than what was written, and kudos to her. I love the bar scene where he's trying to get her to come back, and he falls her to the job, right? And she just kind of says, "No, I'm not in it. Why are you here?" And they have this back and forth. I really like that engagement. I do feel though like it was just kind of cut very quickly. Like not.
Yeah.
It was just we didn't get enough of them and of their history.
Of the initialness, or later, or throughout the whole thing?
Throughout the whole thing, right? I think you have the opportunity to bring a love, not just a love interest, but like a love dynamic to this movie that could really use it, right? And you planted the seeds, but we don't get a lot of it.
I remember it being stronger.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not very strong.
No.
And I wonder if this is part of it, is because when it released, they planned for breaks.
What do you mean?
Like, I just think like if we remember these little, because of the way like this. Look, I don't know. I don't know the industry at this time, right? I'm not. I didn't like. I'm loving movies.
Yeah,
I'm growing to connect to, like we talked about, but there could be like now that I'm in, like I've been like I haven't cut a feature film, but I could cut a feature film.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't win an Oscar first try, but looking at it and understanding how, like, as an editor, I have to think about, okay, where's this being delivered to? What is the medium? Like, what's the goal? Like, there's a lot of things that go into cutting a film. And part of that could be like, is distribution. And at the time, TNT and like syndication of how they do television.
Yeah.
Is part of it is the chunking. It's like, okay, well, we can, like let's plan to understand that, like, let's put these arcs. We're gonna edit. If you're in a post house, they're editing in like a specific method of some kind in order to be able to, like, if they get chopped up or spliced for edited for television, that it's better, or it's optimized or whatever you want be. Because I
think it's weak. I for someone, and again later as they're boosting the Lamborghini, for her to have so much resentment to him, I feel like she gets over it really quickly.
Yeah.
And they have good lines of, like, where he says something along the lines of, there was a girl and whatever, but like it was very shallow. It wasn't depth enough, and I would have liked to have seen more of their history or that dynamic.
Yeah, 100%. Like it, I remember it being stronger. I remember being like, Angelina Jolie, and
I almost kind of wish they would have the last boost with Eleanor to have her in the car.
Dude, I had a similar thought.
To help, like, bridge this gap between them of you left me or whatever, and now they're kind of forced to really work together. I think maybe that could have helped a little bit more in the story, there needed to be something more between the two characters for them at the end to just be together. And I was just kind of like, oh, so you guys are picking this relationship back up, huh? I just think that the romance between the two lacked.
Yeah. We got to talk about Fast and Furious now. Dude, I'm watching this movie, okay? And like, I'm loving it. One, I'm just like, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And all I can think is like, why did this not get a sequel? Okay. A year later, The Fast and Furious comes out.
Yep. 2001.
Okay? Let me see. Too Fast. When did Too Fast? 2003. Same year as Italian Job. And then we had Tokyo Drift. Okay. And like, I don't know if they plan, like, I don't think the whole idea for the rest of the Fast and Furious franchise wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It's just like they did it and then they did the second one. And there's so many elements that, like, do you know earlier, I mean, with this last year, we had Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, talked about AI. Then we had The Creator, talked about AI. Sometimes in Hollywood, the weird, like, creative minds kind of like synergize at some point, and we get like similar themes.
Sure. Yeah.
In movies. I don't know what was going on, but I think it happened at this time period. I think with like cars and heist movies / like actions.
Yes. There's this love for like car-based movies in Hollywood in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is part of why we have this connection to like a freedom of like, because part of it is like, because we have we didn't review, but we'll eventually do it. But we both watched Gran Turismo. Okay, now Gran Turismo, like, that game came out at the same time around Need for Speed. Now, Gran Turismo was like for people who were like there was a sim. It was a simulator. Need for Speed was literally just a game for people who like wanted to have cars. They would like enjoy the idea of like car racing, and like they wanted to compete, but they didn't like want to go. It was a different market,
different competitiveness to it.
Yeah. But I don't know about you. You play Need for Speed?
I played Need for Speed. I'm a Forza guy.
When did Forza come out?
The first one, 2007.
So the first Need for Speed came out in 94. Need for Speed...
No, first it came out in 2012, the first one.
Yeah. But Need for Speed Underground came out in 2003. And that was the first time they switched. It became a little bit more of the like similar style to Fast and Furious. Like customizable, you could you can do neon like underbar, like lighting. I mean, maybe you could have done that previously. I just remember Need for Speed Underground 100% in this time period. So we had Gone in 60 Seconds. Dude, they have a dinner scene at the end of the movie.
Wait, in this one?
In Gone in 60 Seconds, they have literally like they're a family.
Yeah.
He gives him a car.
In what movie does this happen? In which Fast and the Furious?
No.
In all of them?
No, essentially, the family dinner happens in every single one.
Yeah.
But in the whole thing is that Dom has a crew.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Walker, right? But he, at the end, like he like accepts it. He kind of like ends up, but he gives him the car. Because Paul Walker gives Dom his car so he can get away. And
yes, in the first one.
In the first one, okay.
Yes.
So the second one, now Paul, he's no longer an FBI agent, and I'm just thinking, all I'm thinking is like, there have so many similar. There's a lot of like good elements in. They didn't go with the heist element as effective, like because it was more about the
racing.
So it was more about the racing situation, the undergroundness of like their still stealing.
Yes.
But so it's almost as like they came at it on, instead of coming from the heist perspective, they came at it from like the drama, like the police perspective, from like instead of coming strictly from Memphis, it's from Castlebeck's side.
Yes.
Right. But then he converts him
to
his side.
To his side. Yeah.
Where we get Castlebeck on this one, Castlebeck gets saved by Memphis.
Yep.
And lets him go.
Okay.
Okay. And to me, I'm like, all I can think is like, dude, the cast is phenomenal. I love the things, but to me, all I can think is like I fell in love with Fast and Furious franchise because it had a lot of similar beats as they progressed. Which is why I freaking want us to do Fast and Furious, except for freaking 9 and 10. 9 and 10 are garbage, and it makes me so mad because like they really missed on an opportunity on the Gone in 60 Seconds. Like, I don't know if it was like they just had a better idea with marketing or like what they could do. But maybe like just how things played out like across seas or, with money when it comes down to like the box office numbers. Because Gone in 60 Seconds, I mean, it has like Nick Cage could have like Giovanni, they could have like developed Giovanni, like Kip's character like you said. Like they could have done this if they did a sequel. Like they could have done something different, right? They could have added something more. My thing is like they're at their end of their game. Like they're at the end of like their sort of thing. And like, are they going to continue? He just bought him a car. He's going to restore it, and that's his thing. It's his baby. It's his Eleanor. He doesn't have to boost her.
I think a sequel for this would be, you would need to write a very strong motivating factor that brings him yet again back to stealing.
Is it him, or would it be Kip back to stealing?
No, because you okay. Let's say you go back. Let's say you choose Kip. Kip in this movie and his crew, we were shown that they are bumbling idiots. Okay, so now you have to do even more work from a script perspective to make me believe that these guys can do something.
See, and this is why.
And I think so. So I think they wrote themselves to not do more sequels. Now, if you choose to go with Nicolas Cage, with Reigns, with Memphis and his crew, then what is the factor that gets them to go? That's why for me it would be the cartel, right?
Yeah.
Who didn't get their stuff delivered, and now they need to boost but I don't know, what do you do? You boost 100 in one night? What do you do? How do you increase the stakes here?
See, and I think that's where, like, but then you're back to the thing of like Fast and Furious, where like we gotta go to space.
Yeah, we gotta go to space.
It's you're there. They understood what they set themselves up to, but I think what Fast and Furious did is they set the bar at a reasonable, like, they didn't know what they had when they did it, and then when they came after Tokyo Drift. Bless you. Did you get those demons out of you?
There's more in there.
Am I selling you on Fast and Furious yet?
No, dude.
Because like
someone right now is listening to me like, Danny is really working on.
Here's the thing that I'm like, I thought I was like, I put it to bed. I was like, you know what? We're not going to do Fast and Furious. It is what it is.
We are going to. No, look, we are going to do Fast and the Furious. I promise we will. I need to go back to that episode that I said once we get to X number of listeners or X number of something.
I don't remember if you said subscribe, because we hit 1,000 downloads. Shout out to you guys for sticking around if you're here this. But the thing for me is like, look, this movie as a movie is phenomenal. Is wonderful.
It's great.
It's a great heist movie. When you look at it as just like, if you look at it as a heist movie, it's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I think when you look at it as like a movie, I think that some of the pitfalls that we have bring it down a little bit because we want more.
Yes.
And there's really amazing elements, right? And that's why to me, I'm like, man, like don't think about the sequel. Just let this be the culmination.
Yeah.
Just go back to tell the story of Memphis and the falling out and like whatever, and then let us land here. Like, why not do that? Don't try to like continue going forward up higher.
Yeah.
Let's bring the stakes down and build why Memphis's character is the way he is
and how we got here. Right?
Yeah.
Two questions. One, if you were to pitch this prequel series to, who is this, Touchstone?
Yeah.
Whoever. Who would you hire as your Memphis? Who would you cast?
For nowadays, like if we did like a
Nicolas Cage must have been what, in his late 40s, 50s when this happened? He was 36. He was 36?
36.
He's basically my age.
Yeah.
Do I look like Nicolas Cage from 2001? From 2000?
No, you look better.
Thank you. Good answer.
He was like thinning in his hair, dude. You got thick locks. You're Silver Fox in it, bro. You're going George Clooney.
I'm going George Clooney style.
Come on, bro.
Okay, so you have to find someone like in their mid 20s, early 30s.
So again, is Memphis the main character, or is he handing off the? Is he going to hand?
No, because you're doing the prequel, right? You're telling the story.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about a sequel, not a prequel.
No, your pitch
to my pitch. Okay. So if I was going to do a pitch, ooh man, this is going to be hard.
Do not say Timothy Chalamet.
No. I don't think he's not the guy from The Bear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy Allen, bro. Jeremy Allen. I would do Jeremy Allen as Memphis Reigns.
That's good.
Jeremy Allen's as Memphis Reigns because he's got a bit of a like. I mean, Bear. He's very specific, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like he could easily go into like a because we already know that Jeremy Allen does well with a passion of craft.
Yeah.
Right, that he's obsessed. Like he can embody this idea of there. The only difference is that he would have to then play out a little bit more suave. For Sway, I would do hold on, let me look up Shrinking. What's the movie? The TV show Shrink. Jessica Williams. She might be too tall. I don't know, man. I would still do it.
Jessica Williams.
Have you seen Shrinking?
I don't think. No, I haven't.
Phenomenal. Top-notch television. I think she could be a good runner-up for Sway. For Sphinx, you know who I would do for Kip? You'd have to do you'd probably have to do a new person for Kip, like a new kid.
Yeah.
Or an up-and-coming actor that could work. For Otto, I would probably go
with Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah, dude, Pedro Pascal will kill it as Otto.
You're gonna blow your budget just on.
You would blow your budget. So you couldn't. I was actually thinking. I was like, would Mark Wahlberg? No, he's not old enough yet. Oh, but he could be younger. Like,
Yeah, you could do like a slightly younger version of it. Yeah, yeah.
a little scruffier. I think he could possibly be a good Otto. Who would be Castlebeck? Who would you put as Castlebeck?
Ooh,
Because
I'll tell you who.
Drykoff would not be involved. Castlebeck would have a whole nother. We'd put him with a whole nother detective. Because Castlebeck would be. He would start off first pilot episode. He starts off as a regular cop, but he gets involved with he gets kind of involved in, and so we have the dual Memphis and Castlebeck beef throughout the whole series.
I would do for Castlebeck. I'd do Coleman Domingo.
Who?
Coleman Domingo. He was just recently nominated.
Oh yes, he'd be killer. You know who I'm torn on this one.
Jeffrey Wright as Castlebeck. Jeffrey Wright.
Dude, Jeffrey Wright's too. He's too old.
He's too old. Yeah, yeah.
He's an amazing. I love Jeffrey Wright. He's phenomenal. Freak. What's the show? What's this? There's like a murder. It's a murder mystery show on Apple TV. Every episode's like a different character's perspective in a different style.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I know this.
I liked it. I liked the idea. After party. The after party. Yeah. So it stars Tiffany Haddish as a detective, and then Sam Richardson plays Anik. I feel like Sam Richardson. I'm a little torn. He's like goofy, lovable.
Oh, and yeah.
And I don't think he would. I'm not sure if he could pull the like funny. He could do the smart, funny, like capable, but him getting thuggish. I don't know if he would land.
Nah, man, have him. I would cast him as Donnie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know if like. I don't want to see him in actions, like in some sort of action.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I mean, he could do what. I mean, actors can do whatever they want if they want. Like if they're,
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's kind of like where I would go.
I like it. You've sold me on this. I wanted a sequel. I wanted to bring Memphis back and Nicolas Cage, but you've sold me on a prequel series. Make it 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Lead up to
just like
yeah.
First one is Memphis cutting his teeth, creating the crew. Second one is him upping the stakes. Castlebeck's bigger on his tail. There's enough pressure that his mom argues with him, tells him that he's got to get out. Then third season we flash forward X number of years and it's Kip in up and coming.
Yeah.
And then it ends with he's got to steal
the 50.
The 50.
I like it.
Go first because I got to think about it.
I love the two Rogers don't make it right. Him going into the Ferrari dealership. For me, a good heist movie needs to have like a con man sequence. Someone conning someone, either just to like pickpocket them or to like to do some like recon work. And this sequence delivers that.
Dude.
And it's also just Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. The way he delivers the lines, the way he turns around, it's like, funny. My name's Roger too. Two Rogers don't make it right. Right? And like they shake hands.
Roger, I have a problem. I've been in LA for 3 months now. I have money. I have taste, but I'm not on anybody's A-list. And Saturday night is the loneliest night for the week for me. Well, a Ferrari would certainly change that. Perhaps. But you know what? This one? Yes. I saw 3 of these parked outside the local Starbucks this morning, which tells me only one thing. There's too many self-indulgent wieners in this city with too much bloody money. Now, if I were driving a 1967 275 GTB 4 cam,
you, sir, would not be a self-indulgent wiener. I love it. That whole sequence, it's so good.
Dude,
it's
gold.
Great. And Nicolas Cage, again, just delivers on all cylinders, pun intended, with that. It's so good.
It's phenomenal. I think I'm torn between 2. I'm torn between Feb bringing the car back and everyone freaking out and Castlebeck coming in. Because that scene is really good.
That my understanding is that scene is a direct play-by-play from the original movie.
Oh, interesting.
Which I haven't seen, but from what I've read is that is entire sequence. Someone steals a car, they bring it in, it's full of coke, and
it's a good nod.
Yeah, it's a good nod.
If nothing else is similar, and that's respect, because it's a really good scene. But I think my favorite scene is actually the tension that we get that when Castlebeck gets called up by the police officer from the diner, and he shows up with Drykoff, and he's like, Memphis reigns. And he's like, I thought I can't believe you're here. I just lost a bet, and I'm going to tell my wife, to my partner here, because he said that there's no way, because I told him there would be no way that Memphis Reigns would be coming back into my city, right? Like that whole, like the scene, we sense immediately Beck's beef with Memphis Reign, and the conflict that these two men have had, is immediately established, and it's like wonderful.
And not only the conflict that they've had, but the conflict that we're going to continue to experience in the rest of the movie, that tension is immediately established there. Love that scene. And it ends great with, like, at the end he tells freaking Timothy's character, don't ever talk about my wife.
Because
just give him that look. It's so good.
Dude, and it's like, I'm like, dude, he straight up was gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, bro.
So good.
Okay, I have one last thing to say before we wrap up.
Okay.
Or I have a question for you. What did you think of the score in this film?
The score was fine. The soundtrack, however, dude, oh my gosh. I love that the movie starts with Flower by Moby, which I continue to listen to this song to this day. I had so many memories come back. Look, this was early 2000s. Whether you were downloading stuff on Napster or some other website, okay? Maybe I'm incriminating myself here, but we downloaded music illegally back then. Who didn't? Okay. And
I fully legally pay for all my music now.
Yes, so do I. Okay. But having Flower by Moby, the Chemical Brothers, you have obviously DMX Party Up. This is just power, pure, like early 2000s, my style of music. I had all of these burned on a CD, and I would just play on repeat all the time.
Dude, top notch. Seriously, the soundtrack.
Stop the Rock by Apollo 440. Oh my god,
killer tracks.
Yeah.
When it came to the score, every time and this might be because I'm a huge fan of National Treasure, but I feel like, and it's because it was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. Actually, let's look. Are you looking up the composer?
I think I could be wrong, but I believe it's Trevor Rabin, who's the same composer for both these movies, Gone in 60 Seconds and National Treasure, who was one of the bandmates for the band of the 80s who did...
In 1970, he formed the band Rabbit, becoming the most successful rock act ever to emerge from South Africa. Rabin left Rabbit to pursue a solo career in London and released 3 solo albums. Oh, it's a song. In 1982, he becomes a member of the newly reformed progressive art rock group Yes. 90125 album.
Owner of a lonely heart. Yeah, this is their big hit.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so he was part of that band.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, coincidentally, he scored both this and National Treasure.
Dude, I'm telling you,
and National Treasure has a much better score.
I feel like he was like testing the waters here, because I feel like there's a lot of like he reprises it a little bit. Like I feel like there was moments I'm like, I'm seeing Nicolas Cage, I'm seeing him as a suave like thief as Memphis Reigns, and all of a sudden I'm like, why am I feeling Booth?
Why am I feeling Booth? Yeah, no, I love the soundtrack for this movie. You can never go wrong with Moby for me. So
good stuff.
It hits really well every time.
Guys, I'm not sorry for making this longer.
This is a long episode.
This is the longest episode we've had, I think. This movie there's so many good things.
There's so many great things. Obviously, there's issues with it. But overall, as a heist movie, as an action heist movie, it hits most everything.
Yes.
You have the countdown. You have great cat and mouse dynamic between the characters. An awesome ensemble cast.
Yeah.
And like this ridiculous reason to like of what you're stealing. I will say, last criticism: 200,000 to steal 550 cars.
I know.
That's nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Why would Kip? See, this is why Kip is an idiot. Who would commit to 50 cars for only 200,000?
I know.
Kip.
What an idiot.
But it's a great movie. I love it. I have a good time with it even now, and I will continue to revisit this.
We thank you so much for joining us on today's episode, and we hope that you loved our conversation. If you did, we'd love it if you could subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to leave us a review or share it with one of your friends, because it really does help us get discovered.
More importantly, we want to hear from you. What do you think of Gone in 60 Seconds? What did we miss? What are some of your favorite moments from it? You can always let us know on social at Real Chumps. We're on Twitter, TikTok, wherever, all the socials. You can also email us at your@realchumps.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Marstrosity, MARCTROSITY.
And me at Rubio_TV. Join us next week as we continue discussing our heist movies with National Treasure.
We're doing a back-to-back Nick Cage, Jerry Bruckheimer.
Look, after Brad Cage, I'm like, let's go. I gotta go. I gotta Cage.
We should at the end of next episode, we'll discuss which Nick Cage heist movie is better, Gone in 60 Seconds or National Treasure.
Stay tuned. See you next week.
Later.